everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Rink-Side with Hits and Clips. This isn't a specific episode that is aimed for season two. However, we're going to be dropping videos from time to time on just certain topics, certain teams, certain players, certain leagues. And this is one video in particular that I wanted to have a little bit of fun with and create. So, as some of you may know, I grew up in Markham and I grew up with the Markham Waxers, a little bit with the Markham Royals. And I just, before I started this video, I was just recapping a little bit of some of my past teams that I worked with the Seneca Sting Varsity Athletics when I was in school, the Stouffville Spirit of the OJHL, and just recently the past 4 seasons I spent with the Uxbridge Bruins of the PJHL. It's been a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to what the Bruins are going to bring this coming season. Well, as mentioned, I grew up in Markham, and I was following a lot of the Markham Waxers when I was growing up in my childhood. And last night I was doing a little bit of research on not just the Markham Waxers when they were in their OJHL era, but I actually went back and looked at the team they were playing, the roster, and the final score. And I actually have it here. I'm going to pull it up. Now, these two photos here were from Friday, November 20th, 2009. It was a Friday night game, a 7:30 p.m. puck drop at the Markham Centennial Center. I believe it's the Markham Centennial Arena now in Markham, Ontario. And it was the Markham Waxers, and they were actually taking on the Whitby Fury. Now, this is the Whitby Fury, the old logo that you actually used to have. And they won 5-1 apparently that night. They had a total of 39-33 in shots. And I was also looking not just at that final score, I was looking at some of the rosters for both clubs. And I actually have a couple of cards I'm going to show you guys on here. I actually had some of the cards signed and where actually some of these players are now, or where they actually spent majority of their hockey career after I saw these players play for the Markham Waxers in 2009. This chart right here is the OJHL standings for the 2009 season, and as you can tell, both Markham and Whitby clinched the playoffs. There are a couple teams in the league that you can see right here that aren't in the league anymore. Teams like Streetsville, Orangeville, Hamilton, Upper Canada, Dixie, Sagan. Some of these teams I actually mention in the OJHL history video of episode 1 of season 2. So I recommend you guys go check that out as well. But even just looking at some of the Eastern Conference teams here that aren't even in the league anymore, Bowmanville, Peterborough, even Ajax. So the Ajax Attack, and one of these players actually used to play for the Ajax Attack before he joined the Markham Waxers, which is pretty fascinating, pretty cool to think about. And just the other graphic I wanted to show you guys here too. So in 2009 to 2010 season, the OHA Buckling Cup champion would end up being awarded to the Oakville Blades that year. The finals would take place between the Newmarket Hurricanes and the Oakville Blades, and the league champions for the playoffs of the CCHL would end up being the Newmarket Hurricanes. And if we look down a little bit further, it was the conference champions of the playoffs for the Eastern Conference Bowmanville Eagles and the Western Conference Newmarket Hurricanes. So yeah, the Newmarket Hurricanes played in the Western Conference in the 2009 season. And then the season champions, the Eastern Conference, went to the Bowmanville Eagles, and then the Western Conference champions for the season went to the Burlington Cougars. So just a little bit of fascinating history for you guys to just that I wanted to share with you guys there. I have about 10 cards here, and when I was in my childhood, I had family that worked with the Salvation Army, and this was a specific team, the Markham Waxers. Like I mentioned in the OJHL history video, they were always helping out in the community, and one of those ways was helping out with the Salvation Army. And so they happened to be at this event. I think it was like a breakfast or lunch or something. Maybe it might have even been like a toy drive at Christmas time. And they actually happened to sign some of these players. So my good friend Noah, he is out in South Carolina. So he was actually with me during this time during my childhood, and he actually had the same card signed. So I'm just going to mention some of these players, maybe you never heard of them, maybe you want to do research on them yourselves, I highly recommend that you go and check out the history of the Markham Waxers from this year. They just had a great team. I do remember very vaguely of what the team looked like, but as mentioned from these pictures here again, this was two of the pictures from the 2009-2010 season. It was like a ceremonial puck drop, and it featured the Markham Waxers and the Whitby Fury. So the first player we are going to mention here, his name is Fior Lucent. He played with the Markham Waxers, and just a little give you guys a little bit of history on him. He's from Markham, and all three seasons from 2007 to 2010, he did play with the Markham Waxers in the OJHL, and his highest points for all three of those seasons. So in the first season, it was 16 points. The 2008-2009 season, it was 17 points and 18 points to finish off the 2009-2010 season. So he only ended up playing with the Markham Waxers for 3 seasons, but that is him right there. And as you can tell, that is the signature when he played with the Markham Waxers. And then something actually pretty cool, I'll flip it over here. All the cards actually have different pictures on them, but this was actually part of the York Region Police, and they promoted the Markham Waxers on the card here. As you can see, it's, I believe that's the York Region Police helicopter right behind them. So it's pretty cool to see. But yeah, that is the first player, and he spent all 3 seasons with the Markham Waxers. Our next player, we have Chris Stewart. He was number 23 with the Markham Waxers, and he's from Pickering, Ontario. And this was the guy who actually played with the Ajax Attack when Ajax used to have a team in the OJHL. He played with the Ajax Attack in 2008 to 2009, and he had a total points of 9 points that one season. And for the next 2 seasons of his hockey career, he would play with the Markham Waxers in the OJHL. In the 2009 and 10 season, he ended up with 12 points overall, with 13 points overall in the 2010-2011 season. So that is Chris Stewart, and those are the first 2 players that I had card signed from the Markham Waxers. Our next player here is Matthew Meseros. Now he's from Toronto, Ontario. He spent 5 seasons with the Markham Waxers. His highest points season was in the 2006-2007 season, as well as the 2009-2010 season, where he had a total of 20 points. He ended up playing 48 games in that 2009-2010 season, and he had a total of 6 goals, 14 assists, and 20 points to finish off his Markham Waxers OJHL career. Our next player here is Josh Fumajari. He only played with the Markham Waxers for 1 season, and that was in the 2009-2010 season. He played 19 games, had 2 goals, 2 assists with 4 points. So there's not much history on his hockey career with the Markham Waxers, but just wanted to mention that that was one of the players that I also had a card signed by. So next up, we have Jamie Kendra. So he is from Markham, Ontario. His first season with the Markham Waxers was in 2009-2010. He would then play 2 more seasons with the Markham Waxers before he would go on to the NCAA, to the University of Alabama, Huntsville, where he would play with them and also the University of Alabama the next season after that. And then to close out his junior hockey career, he would play the next 2 seasons with Brock University. So that is Jamie Kendra, who used to play for the Markham Waxers. Next up, we have Peter Rodriguez. Now, he started his junior hockey career in the OJHL with the North York Rangers, where he would then join the Markham Waxers for his very first season in the 2009-2010 season. He would then play an additional season with the Markham Waxers, where he would then put up 31 points in that 2010-2011 season. And then the next 3 years after that, he would then head to sunny Wasago. Now, I believe that's a league that's maybe out in Europe or somewhere, but he did end up playing with sunny Wasago for the next 3 seasons after he played with the Markham Waxers. Next up is number 14, Ty Campbell. Now, he's from Mississauga, Ontario. He had a pretty long OJHL career with multiple teams. He started out with the Orangeville Crushers. Now, again, if you don't know who the Orangeville Crushers are, I highly recommend that you go check out the history of the OJHL history video that we just launched. But the Orangeville Crushers, this was his very first season with the team in 2008, 2009. The next season would be his only season with the Markham Waxers, would be the 2009, 2010 season. That year, he would end up putting up 5 points with the team. The Mississauga Chargers would be the next team he would end up playing with for the next 2 seasons after Markham. After that, for the 2011-2012 season, he would then go on to play with the Oakville Blades, followed by the Milton Icehawks for the next 2 seasons. And then to finish off his OJHL career in 2013-2014, he would then end up playing with the North York Rangers. Next up, we have Rory Craddock. Now, he's from Oshawa, Ontario, and his first season in the OJHL was with the Port Hope Predators. He would then head to Markham for the next 2 seasons to play with the Waxers, and his first season was in 2009-2010, where he would have the most points out of all of the seasons that he played for any of these teams. He had a total of 10 points. He put up 1 goal with 9 assists in that first season with Markham. He would then play 1 extra season with Markham in 2010 to 2011, and then he would head to the QMJHL in the Canadian Hockey League to play with the Gatineau Olympiques. Now, he ended up only putting up 2 points in that 1 season with Gatineau, but right after playing with the Gatineau Olympiques, he would then end up heading to the St. John Sea Dogs in the QMJHL to play with that franchise, and that would be the last season for his junior hockey career, but just in a remarkable accomplishment that he was even able to head over to the QMJHL following his 2 seasons with the Markham Waxers. Next up, we have Paul Jeager. Now, he is from Stouffville, Ontario, and his very first season in the OJHL to start his junior hockey career, it was with the Markham Waxers where I got this card signed. And it was in that 2009-2010 season, which would be his only year with the Markham Waxers. He would then head to Stouffville to play with the Spirit for the next 2 seasons. And in that second season with Stouffville, he would end up winning the championship with them. So that's pretty impressive. The next 4 years after that, he would end up playing at Clarkson University in the ECAC. And right after that, the next 2 seasons, he would play in the AHL, the American Hockey League. The first season was with the Albany Devils, and the season after that was with the Rochester Americans. Well, 2 seasons after that, the next 2 seasons, it was in the ECHL with the Elmira Jackals and the South Carolina Stingrays. And then just after those 2 seasons, he would end up back down in the AHL up to the Hershey Bears organization and play with that team. And then that was his last season in North America. And the next 3 seasons after that would be overseas, over in Austria, where he would spend his first season with Bolzano HC, his next season with Sport Vaza, and the last season in his junior hockey career was with a team I just cannot pronounce the first 2 names, but it was with Volin HC. So if you want to do more research on him, you can certainly search him up and it will just show his entire junior hockey career. Very impressive that he was able to go all the way from Markham all the way over to Austria overseas. So I hope all these players are doing extremely well in whether they're still playing hockey or in the next stage of their lives, but just remarkable to see how so many of these players have been able to adapt from an OJHL level to playing overseas in a country like Austria. Now, next up, we have Frankie Palazzi. Now, he was the goaltender with the Markham Waxers. And with the Markham Waxers, that was his very first junior hockey league career season. And in that same season, he would also end up being called up to the OHL to play with the Kingston Frontenacs. He would play with the Frontenacs in the very next season after that. The next 2 seasons, it would be with the Kitchener Rangers. The next 2 seasons after that, it would be with the Sudbury Wolves. And then he would make a jump up to the ECHL to play with the Wheeling Nailers. And right after those 2 seasons in the ECHL, he would play 1 more season in his junior hockey career, but it would be in the AHL, the American Hockey League, with the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins, which is the Pittsburgh Penguins AHL team. And as I look back at this guy's junior hockey career, like incredible points that he put up. Like the amount of games he played, the minutes he played, the wins he got, the save percentages he put up. It's just one fantastic career for this guy. It's just remarkable to see how much this guy was able to bring so much success from just a first season with the Markham Waxers to playing with the Scranton Penguins of the AHL and heading up to the OHL to play with three teams, Kingston, Kitchener, and Sudbury, and then to play 2 seasons right after the OHL in the ECHL. So that's pretty remarkable. And I hope this guy is doing amazing in his hockey life, in his personal life. I hope he's doing amazing. And I wish him all the best because he is just a remarkable goaltender that put up some pretty remarkable points over his junior hockey career. And last but not least, we have Massimo Lamacchia. Now, he is from Vaughan, Ontario. He spent his very first 2 seasons with his hometown with the Vaughan Vipers. And now, if you don't know who the Vaughan Vipers are, you can head to our OJHL history video to know the history behind that franchise. But right after spending his two first seasons in the junior hockey career with the Vaughan Vipers, he would play 1 season with the Stouffville Spirit and then head directly to Markham to play with the Waxers, except it wasn't a full season with Markham. He would then head to play in the same season, but over in the BCHL with the Victoria Grizzlies. And I think it's pretty remarkable that I was able to get this card signed by him that same season because he must have headed over to the BCHL right after the new year, maybe. And that's where he would then start his BCHL career. And then right after playing with Victoria, he would play with the Collatum Express. And playing with Collatum, that was his most successful season where he would play 60 games, put up 35 goals, 39 assists, and 74 points, which is very impressive. Right after playing in the BCHL, he would spend 4 seasons in the ECAC playing at Brown University. After playing at Brown University, he would head over to the ECHL for 2 seasons and play with the Manchester Monarchs and then the Wheeling Nailers. And then right after his ECHL career for 2 seasons, he would then head over for 3 more years to finish off his junior hockey career in the SPHL, playing with the Louisiana Ice Gators, the Roanoke Rail Yard Dogs, and the Pensacola Ice Flyers, which is pretty amazing. So such another remarkable hockey career for a junior hockey player who also played with the Markham Waxers. So it's just amazing to see where so many of these players are now, where they used to be, where they went on after playing in the OJHL, and just to see the takeoff of some of these players. Some of these players probably don't even play hockey as a career anymore. Some of them just probably, they just continued on with their personal lives, but just to add this to their resume is very impressive. And every single player that I had a card signed by, thank you so much for the autograph. I know that was, back in 2009, and you probably don't even know, you don't even remember who I am. But I just wanted to create a fun little Markham Waxer video, especially knowing that I grew up in the city of Markham and I had these autographs. So I wanted to create a video on this. And that's not just all of them. Like there's, a whole dozen of more players that played on the Markham Waxers. Those cards, though, weren't signed. Those were the only ones that were signed by the Waxers. But anyways, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for your support. If you want to see more videos like this, or you want me to cover a specific team, player, or league, I'd be more than happy to. Be sure to drop your ideas and your thoughts down in the comments below. Be sure to go follow us over on our Spotify platform where we publish our podcast version, the audio version. We also have 2 social media platforms, including Blue Sky, which replaces the Twitter/X platform. And we also have our Instagram platform, which we just released about a month ago. So thank you so much, everyone. I'm so glad to know that everyone has been continuing to support us as we launch season number 2. And I'm extremely excited to see where this is going to take off to. We will be doing more history videos. And just to give you a sense of some of the history videos that are to come, the ones that we are going to cover, we've obviously covered the OJHL, which is part of the CJHL, the Canadian Junior Hockey League. We're going to be covering in the future the AJHL, which is the Alberta Junior Hockey League, the SJHL, which is the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League, the 2 MJHL leagues, which is the Manitoba Junior Hockey League and the Maritime Junior Hockey League. Then the SIJHL, which is the Superior International Junior Hockey League, the CCHL, which is the Central Canada Hockey League, the NOJHL, which is the Northern Ontario Junior Hockey League. Then we'll have the LHJ AAA History video, which is the Quebec Junior Hockey League. And then we have the BCHL, the British Columbia Hockey League, and the GOJHL, the Greater Ontario Junior Hockey League. Now, just to mention too, the BCHL, the British Columbia Hockey League, and the GOJHL, the Greater Ontario Junior Hockey League, those are not part of the CJHL, the Canadian Junior Hockey League. Those are not part of, the OJHL, the AJHL. Those are two separate leagues. The GOJHL, that is Junior B. So we're going to obviously get into more history, but I just wanted to cover some of the history videos that are to come. I haven't recorded any of the videos as of right now, but I have all the logos and everything ready to go. So those will be coming. So you'll want to stay tuned for those in the near future. But thank you everyone so much for your support. Really appreciate it. Be sure to hit subscribe below and we will see you in the next video.